I tracked down Dennis. He's somewhere in the hospital, and trying to get him to come down. And so, like he said, we were very broken. It was just so frightening. I called Mom and Dad. Mom and Dad actually drove us to Louisville because I don't think I could have even seen the tears in my eyes and how upsetting it was. The first surgery, he had to wait 3 weeks. He was 3 weeks old with his first surgery. It went well. He got out of the hospital. Let's see, we spent like the first 2.5 months. I think we were home. We got to come home for Christmas, and then we had to go right back. But he had some other health issues. He had severe gastric reflux, so everything that went down came right back up. So that was a challenging part. He ended up with a feeding tube that he had for like 5 or 6 years. Failure to thrive. He just wasn't ever hungry. He was a little bitty thing, didn't gain a whole lot of weight. So we had a lot of challenges with him. But overall, things were kind of rocky. It was good, it was bad, it was good, it was bad. He was in and out of the hospital a lot. But God has blessed us so many times over with special people coming into our lives. Therapists. Caleb had to have many therapists from the time he came home, because when he came home, he was 6 weeks old and he could not hold his head up. It was as though he was a newborn baby. We couldn't hold him a lot when he was in the hospital because he would burn calories, and they wanted him to gain weight. So all I could do was hold his hand. That was kind of like mine and his little bond. I would hold his hand, and to me, I felt like he knew Mom was there. A little bit later down the road, he did have that heart cath, and he became 3. We knew that something was a little wrong because Caleb started to get tired a lot. He started sleeping like 12 hours in the night, and he started taking naps, which he had kind of grown out of, because at the age of 3, he had graduated from all of his therapies. He did not have any therapy. He was running around, playing, talking, a normal, climbing stairs. He was a normal 3-year-old boy. He had finally caught up. It took him 3 years to get there, but he finally caught up to his age limit. Then that's when things changed again. And I want to share Isaiah 4:31 with you. And it says, "Yet those who wait for the Lord will gain new strength. They will mount up with wings like eagles. They will run and not get tired, and they will walk and not become weary." April 27th, 2005 was our other big turning point with Caleb. The second heart surgery, like Dennis said, did not go so well. The first day or so, it was fine. Then the second day, when we got the call, they called and said, "Ms. Thomas, Caleb doesn't seem to be very alert. We're going to back up on his pain medicine, and you said you wanted to be here." And I'm like, "Yes, I do." So I went ahead and went to the hospital, and I left Dennis. Told him everything was fine, and that I was just gonna go sit with him, because through everything that Caleb had been through, I had a very difficult time leaving the hospital ever. I felt like I needed to be there with my baby. If he woke up, I wanted him to know that his mom was always there. So I went to the hospital, and we were sitting there, and the 2 nurses were in his room, because he's still in kind of like a guarded condition. And after a while, I said, "Should Caleb be waking up? Is there something different going on?" And they said, "Well, we haven't given him any pain medicine for several hours, so yes, he should be waking up." And at that point is when I made that statement, that we realized something terribly had gone wrong. So then that's when they called Dennis. And when Dennis got there was 9 nurses and 4 doctors at his bedside. They pulled in the crash carts. They had They were hitting him with everything that they had. And at that point, we really did not know what was going to happen. We thought Caleb, was going to lose his life. And they left me alone with Caleb, which was very, very unusual. And to me, again, as a nurse, meant something really, really bad, because the two nurses had to be in his room at all times. And for all of them to leave after they got him stabilized, they had to re-intubate him and get him all stabilized. Well, when they left the room, I basically just poured my heart out to God, because I thought, you know what, it can't end here. This cannot be the end. And I just prayed that God would give me my baby back. That's all I wanted. I just wanted him back. So I was selfish. I have to admit, I was very selfish, because I did not want to let him go. A couple days later, they still were not sure exactly what had happened to Caleb. We were waiting for his condition to stabilize. He was too unstable for them to move or take down to have any tests done. And finally they said, we're going to have to. We've got to find out what's going on with him. We've got to find out. Of course, he has wires in the chest, and they were going to do an MRI. There was a big concern with that. Finally, they took him downstairs. 4 nurses and 2 doctors went with him, because they were afraid, that something might happen while he was down there. And when they came back, the test results showed that he had suffered a brain injury at some point. We still to this day do not know for sure when it happened, if it was during the surgery, after the surgery. We don't know. But he had suffered a brain injury, and that his brain was swelling. So for 7 days, Caleb laid in a coma, completely non-responsive. They rubbed his chest. He had bruises on the insides of his arms and on the insides of his little legs, where the doctors would come in and pinch him, trying to just get a movement of any kind out of him. And it never happened. So it got to the point where they said, Ms. Thomas, and this is exactly how the doctor told me. He said, we're at the Y. I said, we're at the Y. He said, yes. He goes, either Caleb's going to go this way, and he's going to get better, or he's going to go this way. And I knew what he meant. He said, we're going to have to call in a neurosurgeon to come and look at him and see if there's anything that they can do. Well, the neurosurgeon came upstairs, and they talked, and they decided all this stuff, and they said, Ms. Thomas, we need to do a bolt. We need to put a bolt in, which means screwing up or putting a hole in the top of the skull, and they would drop a line down to see if they could relieve any pressure or fluid off of his brain. Well, the thing was, he really didn't have a lot of fluid. It was the tissues of his brain that were swelling. So they told me, Dennis had just gone back home. He had just left me because he had to go back to work. And I thought, oh my gosh, I just don't know if I can have them do that, because they told me straight up, if they hit any part of his brain, it would kill him instantly. And I thought, I told my mom, they had moved us at this point. They had moved us to our own special little waiting room at Cosair. And we were away from all the other people, so we could have some private moments. And of course, it was just a bunch of crying and praying. And my mom and her sisters and my sisters, my niece, we were all in this little room. And I'm like, what do I do? I don't know what to do. And I tried to get a hold of Dennis, and he's like, I don't know what to tell you. And I'm like, okay, well, we're just going to pray about it. So we all got in a circle and we held hands, and I asked my mom to pray, because I couldn't really spit out a word. I was crying so hard.